This episode of Switchcraft is brought to you by patrons like Kenneth Gagnon. Support Switchcraft and my other content for as little as $1 and get exclusive rewards at patreon.com/runjumpstomp. All right, we got that done. Name, patron. No Shave October. Link is waiting for us, Ness. Said it would be here today, still waiting. Grumble, grumble. I'm sorry, Link. All right. We are closing in on episode 100. This is episode 90, though, so let's not jump ahead of ourselves. We've got a review on Apple Podcasts from Space Escalator, which, by the way, awesome name. They said, just a great show. Exactly the content I want, at a great length and frequency for news-type content, and excellent voicing. Well, I do what I can. What more could I ask for? Well, I'm sure that there is more that you could ask for, but I don't know that there's more that I could give. So thank you so much for listening, Space Escalator, and for having an awesome name. We also received an email. If you are looking for ways to get a hold of me, one of the ways, and I'll list the rest in a little bit, is that you can email runjumpstomp@gmail.com, just like Joseph did. They said, hey, Bill, first things first, I sent you a friend request. I'm Nintendork with the weird-looking me and blue hair. I already added you, buddy. Thank you for the friend request. And anybody else that wants to friend request me, there's a link or not a link, but my friend code is at the bottom of the show notes, so you can add me. The one thing I do want you to understand is that it might take me some time to get to it because of the podcast, I get a lot of friend requests and my friend list is full. So I'm going through and finding people who that I don't recognize their names, or that I look and it seems like they don't play on the Switch at all, and I remove them in order to add new people. And sometimes that just takes more time than just going to the one thing and hitting add. So it might take me a little bit of time to get you added, but add me so we can play games together, because that's awesome. All right, back to the email. Second thing, I'm getting Super Mario Odyssey when it comes out, but one thing I don't like is how much Nintendo is spoiling it. I've been trying to avoid as much Mario Odyssey coverage as I can, because I want to be surprised about how cool the game is. What do you think about how much Nintendo spoils their games? When you say, I agree that Mario Odyssey is getting a little too much spoiling, and that does bother me a little bit. I wish that Nintendo had the confidence to say, look, we know that Mario Odyssey is going to kill it, so let's just let people see the same stuff that we've already shown them, and it's going to sell. It's going to sell, Nintendo. So just stop trying to sell us on it. All right. So Super Mario Odyssey, I think, is going to sell very well, regardless of the marketing that they push here in this last couple of weeks. So I do think that Nintendo is spoiling Mario Odyssey too much. Now, if we look back at other games, like, let's say, Breath of the Wild, I don't feel like they spoiled anything in that. Although at the same time, I don't know that that's really a game that you can spoil. There's not much of a story to it. I don't imagine that there's much of a story to Mario Odyssey either. But I feel like, you could always just ignore the stuff about Mario Odyssey, especially like there are some Firefox and Google Chrome add-ons or extensions or whatever they're called in your browser of choice that can block out certain words. So, and you can even do that on Twitter. You can block out certain words so that if somebody's posting something about Super Mario Odyssey, you won't be spoiled. I do this right around Christmas time when Star Wars is starting up, because I don't want to get spoiled on a new Star Wars movie. I want to see it, and especially because they don't do a worldwide release. They're releasing them in Europe first for some reason. I don't know. That drives me a little crazy. And that's what you can do to avoid the spoilers, is just use Twitter filters. There's the browser extensions that'll stop it. Like if you go to a certain website that the browser thinks has spoilers for what you're looking at, it'll pop up a thing that blocks it out, so you don't see it. I think that's your only solution. and just don't follow Nintendo stuff quite so closely. Now, as far as an audio podcast like mine, you really don't have to worry about spoilers too much on a Mario game because, again, I don't think there's much story. And then on top of that, what you're really going to be spoiled on is, oh, look at this cool thing that Mario can turn into. And I probably won't talk too much about that until after the game's been out for a little bit, because I understand how people are sensitive to spoilers. Anyway, thank you so much for the email, Joseph. I appreciate it. Other ways that people can get a hold of me is through Twitter at RunJumpStomp. You can leave a voicemail. My phone number is 260-RUN-JUMP. That's 260-786-5867. And you can, of course, jump into the Discord at runjumpstomp.com/Discord. And right there, you can have awesome conversations with lots of people who like Nintendo stuff and some who don't. Anyway, just another quick reminder is that I record these episodes live at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp. So come on over and be part of the conversation while we are talking about it. It's time for the news. We'll name that feedback. And I don't have a water in here. Here's water. I'm growing everything right now live on stream. Like, this is growing. It's slow, but it's growing. This is growing. It's slow, but it's growing. I just don't know if I'm going to cut these hairs or not. I haven't decided. Arislia wishes that Discord had a full broadcast option. What do you mean, Arislia? I'm confused about what it is that you want from the Discord. Like mic active 100%? Oh, is it not picking up? If you want to hear the audio, Arislia, what I would recommend that you do is open it up on Twitch. That's really an easier way. And you can just tap on the little gear icon on Twitch. Let me see if I can find it. My phone is so slow. I am ready for a new phone. I don't have to turn off my alerts, Vaxxer, because I can just turn down the volume of everything else, but thank you for the reminder. So let's say that I go and watch somebody live. Like Grubby. So right here, let me turn that around. Right there on the top, next to the heart, is a gear. If you tap that gear icon, you can then set it to audio only, and then you'll only hear the audio. Let me close that. There we go. So hopefully that solves your problem. Don't think you have the Twitch app. Well, the Twitch app is free, so I highly recommend you download it. Also, as a reminder, oh yeah, okay, I already read that. Okay, let's do the news, guys and gals. All right. Well, this does not sound good, but FIFA for Switch only accounted for 1% of all copies of the game sold. Which, this sounds really bad for the Switch. And especially when EA said, oh, we'll see what we do with other franchises after we get to see what FIFA does. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I have any information at all other than what I'm telling you now. But here's a couple of arguments against or for why this isn't a doomsday scenario. The game is sold out. So if you are going to go out and this is in the EU basically, or actually this is in England. But if you're going to go out and try and find a copy in stores, it's going to be tough to find a Switch copy of FIFA. So with it only selling 1% of all copies, that tells me that they probably didn't make a whole lot of physical copies. It's completely sold out on Amazon. They can't get it anywhere. And there's a possibility that they went with a small number of physical copies in order to drive customers towards digital sales. That way they can save money, because then they don't have to spend the extra money on the cartridge. I could be wrong about this. I'm just spitballing here. There's also the issue that the Switch has a fairly small install base, especially in Europe. It's doing very well in the US, it's doing very well in Japan, but Nintendo has never been huge in Europe. It never has been. Europe has always been really more of a PlayStation market, and a lot of the people who are traditional fans of FIFA are probably also not Nintendo fans for the most part. All right, so these are a couple of reasons why it sold so abysmally. That being said, I'm not going to sit here and be an apologist for Nintendo or anything. And one thing that may have caused it to sell poorly, other than a low number of physical copies made or EA trying to drive digital sales and a small install base, is that you can't play with your friends. For crying out loud. The game doesn't just have a built-in way for you to play with your friends, which is insane to me. I don't understand this. And I think that this is probably on Nintendo rather than on EA, because Nintendo, what we've seen from the Switch is that they don't make it easy to let you play games with your friends. Look at what happened with Splatoon. Splatoon is a pain to play with your friends. You have to do Salmon Run or nothing. Or if you want to play with your friends, you have to hope that you'll end up on the right team. So I think that the inability for you to just pick a game and play with your friends, that might have driven people away from a Switch version. Another thing that it might drive people away is that while having the game portable is good, I've heard that playing the game with one Joy-Con makes it feel kind of clunky. And because of this, it kind of takes away the uniqueness that is the Nintendo Switch. Like, one of the great things about the Nintendo Switch is that you can go someplace, take the Joy-Cons off, share one with somebody, and sit there and play a game together. But for FIFA, I feel like two people crowding around that very small screen with the tiny little players on the field, and you're using half of the Joy-Con, or half of the Joy-Con set, half the controller essentially, to play, and I've heard that it feels clunky. That's not really the best experience, and the idea of that might have also made people say, okay, well, I like FIFA, and I'm going to go with a known quantity. I'm going to go with something that I'm familiar with, something that I know that I'm going to like, and that's the PS4 or the Xbox One version of this game. Whereas people who aren't already FIFA fans, they might be more inclined to pick up the Switch version. FIFA is a huge game, and while it's good, it's EA's first foray into the Switch. When you look at this number of FIFA only accounting for 1% of sales for all of FIFA because of the Switch, a lot of people are going to say, well, this is doom and gloom. And I just want to say that 1% of a really large number is still a really big number. And one other thing that's a more important number that we don't have is the attach rate compared to other consoles. So we don't know what the attach rate is for PS4. We don't know what the attach rate is for Xbox One, and we don't know what the attach rate is for the Switch. Both of the PS4 and Xbox One, there's a lot more of those particular systems in the wild than there are on the Switch. And in Europe, the Switch or Nintendo is not super popular. So I think that FIFA on Switch had a lot stacked against it. But I wouldn't say that the end is nigh for EA on the Switch. We don't know what their expectations were for the Switch, and maybe they know. Maybe they're saying, "Listen, we want people to buy this digitally." Maybe that's why they limited the physical copies. So I really don't know. But I just wanted to let you guys know that it didn't sell that well. That being said, I know that EA said we're going to see how this game does before we decide what we're going to do with the rest. Don't go buy FIFA on the Switch if you don't want FIFA on the Switch. Don't let them hold you hostage like that. Just forget about it and move on. All right, speaking of moving on, let's move on to a different game. I hear the words, but I have no idea what is being said. All I see is some bald, beardless dude talking. I got you, Zimzors. I think FIFA is not a good game for the Switch. How come? Why is that, Vaxer? Why don't you think it's a good game for the Switch? Hey, Wyvern, what's up? It's right here. It's just really short. Nothing to be sorry about, Zimzors. I'm just giving you a hard time. All right, what's next? Here we go. Where did it go? Yoshio Sakamoto. Okay. Yoshio Sakamoto, who is a producer on the Metroid franchise, and he's the co-creator as well. He was talking about Samus Returns, and he was talking at Game Rant, and they asked basically, are we going to see more remakes in the Metroid franchise in the future? And he replied, it really depends on the reasons you have for undertaking such a challenge, whether there's a need for it and your own motivation. But at the moment, I have no plans for another remake. I think we need to spend time considering whether fans are only wanting remakes going forward and what that might mean. So I really don't think that we're going to have... I don't see us having any more remakes. I know a lot of people are like, can you update the graphics for Super Metroid? And I actually say, don't do that, because the original's fantastic, and it'd be better if you spent your time and resources on making a new Metroid game. So I would prefer that they avoid going back to the well and selling us something that we've already experienced, and instead making something brand new, like Metroid Prime 4, or in the future, more side-scrolling Metroid games. I really want to play Metroid 2 Samus Returns on the 3DS, but I don't want to play my 3DS. I want to play my Switch, and so what I would really want is for them to release a version of it on the Switch. Now, I don't think that they're going to do that, but if they did, I'd buy it in a heartbeat. As it is, I'm very, very tempted to pick up Samus Returns because the game looks fantastic, and by all accounts, it's really good. It's a Metroidvania game, of course, in Metroid. And I've got another Metroidvania game that I'm going to talk about later on in the show. But anyway, I'm curious what you guys think. Do you think that it would be better for them to leave the old games the way that they are? You can always go back and play them. And do you, or would you, oh gosh, how do I say this? Would you prefer that they leave the old games alone and focus on new games, or would you prefer that they go back and remake games like Super Metroid again? So let me know. runjumpstomp@gmail.com. The Russian Pain Machine 1. I haven't used that in 2 days because my back is all kinds of screwed up. My son and I were drilling a hole in the arcade cabinet because I've got this, which is a flush mount USB extension cord, so it sits like right against it. I got this real cheap, and I was drilling a hole in the arcade cabinet, and something in my back just said, hey, you're not doing this right now. And I've been in horrible pain ever since. So I can't get on the bike because I can't lean forward because my back is in too much pain. So hopefully it goes away soon, because I'm missing the Russian pain machine over there. All right, so that was Samus. There we go. I didn't even do anything. I was just drilling a hole in wood. You've been playing Demo Wyvern. That's a rhythm game, right? Is it a touchscreen game or is it based on buttons? Okay. Touch? Okay. I probably won't play it then. I don't like touch-based games. I very much prefer... Thanks for the host, Simzors. I very much prefer... I can't think of it. Traditional controls to touch controls. Myself. All right, let's do the gameplay section. Well, September 29th has come and gone. I've got my Super Nintendo Classic. I'm super excited for it. I've played quite a few hours of it, actually. I'm not going to review the games in it. If there's interest, I might do like a retro review segment in the future. Not in the show proper, but maybe like as an extra or maybe on my YouTube channel or something like that. So if that's something you guys want, let me know. Right now, I'm just going to talk about the overall experience of the system. First off, the menu music is fantastic. Nintendo has taken what they had on the NES Classic and improved it, I think. I really do think that they've improved it. And that's basically what it is. The whole thing is just an improvement in every respect over the NES Classic. So the drawbacks of the NES Classic were the abysmally short cords. The controller cord length it's long enough, but it could be longer. Fun fact, which is awesome, if you're lucky enough to have both the NES Classic and the Super Nintendo Classic, you can use the Super Nintendo controllers on the NES Classic, which means that you've got just a little more cord length to deal with, which is great. The artwork, so on the 4x3 game, you've got a lot of black bars on the sides of your game. And I think it's fantastic that they added in this little artwork, especially for me, a streamer who plays games on Twitch. When I'm streaming a game on that thing, it sucks having a bunch of dead space around the gameplay. And I like that they gave me the option to fill that space up, and they gave me some different images that I can choose from. I think that they've done a good job on those. So let's see. Oh, the rewind feature is really cool. I can't see myself using it too much, but I did test it out. Like I loaded up Super Mario World and I played like just a little bit. And basically what you have to do is you play through the game, and let's say that you want to go back like 10 seconds or so. You just hit the rewind button, or not the rewind button, the reset button on your console. So you can't do it from the controller. You got to go hit the button on the console, and then it brings you back to the home screen. And then you can load that save, but instead of hitting the A button to load it, I think it's the Y button to hit the rewind feature, and it'll start playing the game through, and then you could just jump in whenever you want. So you can see your character running across the screen, and mid-jump you ran into, I don't know, a fireball or something. So right before that jump, you can jump into the game and take over and avoid that fireball that hit you before. I won't think to use it. It's not a super convenient way to go about it, but it's neat that you can. Another fun fact is that if you have a Wii Classic controller, which used to plug into the Wii remotes, you can hit the home button, and that'll take you to the home on your system as well. So overall, I think the Super Nintendo Classic is really good. I've heard that the price on eBay for these things is well below what the NES Classic price is, which means that there's more out there, and the pace at which that these things are selling on eBay is also slowing down. And I think that has to do with the fact that Nintendo is getting stock back into the stores. I saw a story today about somebody who about I think it was a GameStop. In the middle of the day, they got restocked again with more stuff. So, if you don't have one yet, keep stopping at stores on your way to and from work, and maybe you'll get lucky. Keep checking out Amazon and stuff like that. Don't buy from a third-party seller. Do not buy from a scalper. I'm sure that you might not get one before Christmas, which sucks. But I think that everyone who wants one is probably going to get one. I think that Nintendo, they have dealt with enough bad PR about the NES Classic that it seems like they finally listened, which is very non-Nintendo. They usually are not the people who will listen to us very much. They're more like Apple, where they just say, we're going to tell the customers what they want. And it's very strange to hear of Nintendo listening. But it seems like they are. All right. The other thing that I played a lot of since the last episode was SteamWorld Dig 2. Don't worry about spoilers. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I will say the story's pretty engaging. I'm having fun with it. It really only requires you to have as much buy-in as you feel like. So you can easily just go up to a character, hit a button, spam the button to get rid of it, and then go to the blue arrow on the screen if you want, or you can read everything and talk to every character in town and stuff like that. I love the movement in this game. When you're playing this game, between the jumps and the wall jumps and the grappling hooks and all of the other ways that you can maneuver around the screen, you really feel like your character is getting more and more powerful as you move on, which is really great. It's a must in a Metroidvania game, and this is the other Metroidvania game that I said I was going to talk about. I think that this game is fantastic. Now, it's not a super long game. I haven't finished it yet, but I looked up how long it takes to beat, and people are saying, somewhere around 15 hours or so. For $20, I think that the gameplay is worth it. You can blast through the main story really, really quick if you want to, and still have lots of other stuff that you can do. Like to try and 100% the game if you want. I love the artwork. It's really, really crisp artwork and has really great animations. The animations feel like cardboard cutouts that are held together by these metal brads. Kids from the 80s, you'll know exactly what I mean. Like that was our action figures back in the day. You had cardboard cutouts and you would hook the arms onto the cardboard cutouts by these like little metal, I don't know, tubes, I guess, and it would allow you to pose the characters and stuff. And that's how it feels when your character is moving around. You've got a whole lot of different ways that you can upgrade your character, and it makes you feel like it's your game, not just a game that you're playing. Overall, I think it's a fantastic game. I love it, and I highly recommend SteamWorld Dig 2. Kodiak Moonwolf responding back to the Super Nintendo Classic thing. He says the cheapest on UK Amazon is £140 plus $4 or £4.48 for delivery from a third party. Hope they eventually get more in stock. I think that they will, but if nobody buys from the scalpers, their prices will drop because they're not going to want to sit there and eat the loss. So all you have to do is not buy from scalpers. And if everybody avoids buying from scalpers, then when the N64 Classic comes out, maybe they won't be interested anymore. All right, let's talk about the lightning round. Hang on. One second. All right, I'm back. This is the lightning round where I go just a little bit faster and I talk less each time. And this is a story over at Nintendo.com. And this is related to the Super Nintendo Entertainment System Classic Edition. We've got a developer interview with the developer behind F-Zero, which is a lot of people, they absolutely love F-Zero. And I gotta say, I haven't played F-Zero outside of emulation. Like on the original Super Nintendo in decades, I feel like when it, I mean, it came out in 1996, so it's been a long damn time since I played F-Zero. And I gotta say, playing it, I played a little bit of it on the SNES Classic, and it handles so much better than emulation. Even emulation, like I'm doing it on my computer. I've got a pretty powerful computer because I'm a streamer, and this felt better. It just felt better. Much more faster frame rate. The controls felt better. I really think that, by the way, I didn't talk about this too much, but the Super Nintendo Classic controllers, like the feel of those buttons are really good. Anyway, so we've got this... this interview. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I'm just letting you know that it's there. It's an interview with Kazunobu Shimizu and Yasunari Nishida and Takaya Inamura. So sorry for butchering those names, but they are the development team behind F-Zero, the original. And it's a good read, so definitely check it out. Also, we finally got our release date for Stardew Valley, and it's October 5th. It's Thursday, for crying out loud. Like, they were really quick to bring that. Like, they told us like 2 days ago. They were like, hey, we're going to be getting release date, and then bam, it's Thursday. I mean, I don't understand why, and this is something that we've seen on the Switch a lot, but I don't understand why developers are like, and the release date is tomorrow. Like, why is it that they're not telling us about these well in advance release date? And I understand that in the past I've said, don't tell us about release dates until you're sure. But how can you not be sure until up to this close to the release date? That's pretty crazy, if you ask me. Coming soon, today, we had Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time come out on the Switch. On Thursday, in addition to the Stardew Valley, we've got Volgar the Viking, Tumblestone, and Axiom Verge. Axiom Verge, speaking of Metroidvania games, that's one of my all-time favorite Metroidvania games. Definitely check that out if you've never played it before. Well, goodness gracious, everybody. This might be the shortest episode I've ever done. Let's wrap it up. That is all the time that we have for today. If there's a story that I missed or a topic that you would like discussed, please let me know. You can do so at all of the different ways to get a hold of me that you have before, or that I listed before. If you're looking for a way to support the show, you can do so by heading on over to runjumpstomp.com/support. There you will find a link to my wife's Etsy shop, my Patreon. If you don't have extra money to throw at me, then don't. But what you could do instead is review the show on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, as well as share the show with a friend. If you already listen on the show, or listen to the show on your phone, just forward that to a friend that listens to it and say, hey, I think that you'll enjoy this. I would appreciate that. Thank you to our sponsor today, which is Audible. Make sure you listen to the commercial at the very end, in the middle of Tom Winter's awesome music, and you'll get a link to head on over to runjumpstomp.com/audible. And I am out of here. Special thanks to Noteblock and Tom Winter for your use of the music on the show. Head on over to their YouTube channels and subscribe. Tell them I said hello. And I am out of here. I'll see you guys on Thursday, and we'll probably be talking about Stardew Valley. because I imagine that there's going to be a whole lot of news about that. All right, let's go. Outro. Why are you suspicious, Vaxxer? Let me see how long my time is here. So that's not right. Okay, so length. File. Save project as. Okay. Desktop. Episode 9. I'm trying to find out how long it is. So that is 5 minutes. 12 minutes. 14 minutes. 25 minutes. 28 minutes. 22 30 minutes. It's not shorter at all. It's the same length as all the other ones, about a half an hour. It's so difficult for me to break that 30-minute mark. I don't know why I can't do it. I just don't understand. All right, let me move this over here. Like, I really thought I was flying through, but I guess not. All right, well, thank you guys for listening. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't thank everybody for being here, for crying out loud. You know what? I'm going to redo the outro then. Let's redo the outro. I'm not happy with that outro. Why can't I scroll? There we go. Outro. Back and record. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. If there's a story that I missed or a topic that you want discussed, let me know. If you're looking for ways to support the show, head on over to runjumpstomp.com/support. There you will find links to my wife's Etsy shop, the Patreon. If you are looking for a free way to support the show, just review us on Apple Podcast or iTunes, or you can just share the show with a friend. If you like to listen to stuff and you like audiobooks, check out the link at the end of the show, runjumpstomp.com/audible, and get some free audiobooks. Directly supports the show. So special thank you to Audible for being a sponsor. And thank you to the people who show up and hang out in Twitch chat. We've got people like Kodiak Moonwolf, Vaxxer, we've got TF Wagner, Link31254, Bravd, Aerslia. Let me see if I can get everybody in here. Zimzors was here. He was picking on me because I shaved my beard off. Who else was here? We saw a couple others. Wyvern Rip Snarl was here. And I think that I got everybody. So thank you guys for showing up at twitch.tv/runjumpstomp and hanging out with me while I record the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you to Noteblock and Tom Winter for use of your music on the show. Head on over to their YouTube channels and tell them I said hello. And just thank you for listening. I'm out of here, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.